Kind of just keep spreading it and tucking it around this pipe, and I think that'll insulate this line. All right. Hey guys, it's Ben Goheen at the Neighborhood Plumber. Wanted to come to you guys and just talk about winterization and what you guys can do to kind of stay on top of this winter that we're gonna have. It's a good reason to winterize a property, whether it's your primary residence, a vacation home, is to prevent a catastrophe. When cold weather comes in, pipes do freeze. When pipes freeze, they burst, they flood homes and create massive and very expensive damage. So it's always wise to get ahead of it and think through it before the winter comes. One of the key things to think about during this cold weather is, when do I winterize? How do I know to winterize? Whether you're in northern Georgia, southern Georgia, Texas, California, or Pennsylvania, one of the things that I always try to remember is, if we're gonna get below freezing for over 24 to 48 hours, it's a good idea to go through and winterize your property. The best thing to do is to find a cutoff valve, a ball valve somewhere to that fixture, and get it turned off. After you've turned it off, you want to go to that fixture, open it up, drain the water out of that system, and leave that fixture open so you don't have potential freezing with any leftover water in the pipe. If you have any exposed piping, or you have any piping prone to freezing, you could always get some foam insulation and wrap pipes with insulation. With your outside faucets, you could use a foam insulated cover. So say you can't find a cutoff valve and you're worried about something freezing, you can install one of these foam covers that would protect it against freezing, or at least give it more of a chance to not freeze. They also have all kinds of spigots and different styles of spigots. So if you do have a frost-free sillcock or spigot, you don't need to worry about shutting it off and draining the system, because that valve is going to turn the water on and off at a different location that's not going to be prone to the freezing like it would on a typical standard sillcock. So if you do have an outside spigot, one of the best ways to find that cutoff valve is, imagine you're an X-Men character and you can walk through that wall, and whatever's on the interior of the wall, you should be able to find a cutoff valve. Normally it's going to be 10 to 15 feet within that spigot. It could be in another room under a sink, or by the water heater, and sometimes they're marked. But once you've determined that you do have a cutoff valve, it's super simple. You're going to shut that valve off. You're going to go back to that spigot. You're going to open it up and let all that water drain out, and just leave it open until you're ready to turn it back on after the winter. So at this particular client, we have not been able to track down any cutoff valves. So the way we're going to winterize this property and these spigots is, we're going to shut all the water off and we're going to drain the system. This is a vacation home, so the customer's not going to be here over the winter, and he does not want to return to a big problem. But say this is your primary residence and you don't want to shut it off, and you can't find a cutoff valve for your outside faucet, they do make foam winterized covers with a foam seal. They're super convenient, they're easy to install, and they will protect this spigot against freezing with the wind and the cold temperatures coming. I'm gonna hop up on this wall and show you guys how easy it is to install. So one thing I always do with these is, they all have this adapter where you can adjust this tightening string. I'm gonna pull it all the way out. I'm gonna get my opening that I'm gonna connect to this handle, and I'll slide this adapter around that handle like so, and then we'll slide this cover. We want to create that seal with that foam gasket, and then we'll go and pull our tensioner and make sure this is snug up against the house. And now we don't have to worry about this customer having any frozen spigots or installing or locating a cutoff valve. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about this frost-free shark bite sillcock. It's super easy to install, it's convenient, and would be one of those products that you can install and not have to worry about winterizing during the cold season. We have one installed over there. Basically, that's an exterior wall, and your standard spigot is going to have blue pipe going all the way through the wall, connecting to the end of the sillcock, wherever its location is, which is why they freeze, because the water is going all the way through the wall. With a frost-free sillcock, the water is actually being turned on way back here at this connection. During operation and you're using it, everything is as normal, but when you turn this off, it shuts off back here. This vacuum breaker allows for all of this water to drain through and drain out, hence the frost-free, and not having to worry about freezing. So during operation or when in use, you do not want to mess with this vacuum breaker, unscrew it, because you will have the diaphragm vacuum breaker blow out at you. So don't mess with this. Make sure this is on there snug and leave your vacuum breaker alone. But other than that, it operates like a regular spigot. Whether you're on an exterior wall unclimated through a 2x4 wall or a 2x6 or a poured foundation wall or block wall, they're gonna come in multiple sizes. So get a tape measure, pull that length, figure out what depth you're gonna have, and make sure that you check out SharkBite for all of the different styles and sizes. So this being a unclimated area, we're gonna go ahead and slide some insulation down this line and get this pipe insulated. This is just some foam insulation, and it's got these tabs that you can pull off to create the seal when it's done. We don't have any fittings or connections in here, but if you did have some 90s, you'd want to cut this at a 45 and then join the two and tape up your seams. But for this situation, we're just going to start sliding this insulation over this pipe, and it's pretty easy to do, pretty easy to work with. This particular insulation is going to be for 1/2 inch since we're doing a 1/2 inch line, but they do make insulation from 1/2 inch all the way up to 8 inch, you know, whatever size you were needing to work with. So now I've got this piece, I will go and pull my cellophane off of this sticky adhesive. We'll squeeze it close. And I think that'll insulate this line. All right, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us today. You guys should know how to winterize your home. I hope to see you on the next episode. This one's been fun. You guys have a great afternoon.